February 20th, 2024. Microphones are going, okay. So,
Okay,
all right.
all right. President Hudson, members of the board. Let me double check here. I think everything's in order. I have a recommendation to adopt the agenda for tonight's regular board meeting. We have the pledge afterwards, as is,
Yes.
unless somebody would like to move the pledge above. Yes, we should start with the pledge.
It should be above, huh?
All right, so, President Hudson,
Yes.
I would like to amend the agenda for tonight's February 20th regular board meeting and move item C above item B, the Pledge of Allegiance. And so, we need a motion in a second
Do I have a motion to approve?
to amend it, to amend.
To amend the, yes, order of business tonight from C to above B?
I motion.
Effective.
You second it? All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
All right, Pledge of Allegiance.
Please join us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. This is B. All right. Now I have a recommendation, President Hudson, to adopt the agenda for tonight's regular board meeting as is.
As presented. We have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to approve tonight's agenda as presented. Do I have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve the agenda.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
Welcome our guests.
Yes, I would like to welcome all of our guests this evening. Thank you for coming, and we will move into the next action item and get going.
President Hudson, members of the board, I recommend approval of minutes from our regular board meeting that was held on January 16th, 2024.
We have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to approve the draft of our regular meeting minutes from January 16th, 2024. Do I have a motion to approve? And do we have a second?
I second.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
All opposed? Okay. It is now time for our citizens' comment. Do we have any tonight? Seems like- Okay.
2 minutes.
Yeah. As a reminder that each citizen comment has a 2-minute time limit, and if you would please come up to the podium, state your name for our records. And our first one is Thomas
McGill.
McGill. I'm so sorry. Thomas
That's quite
McGill.
all right. Thank you. Thomas McGill, 12 Buck Road, Edgewood, New Mexico. I think you're going to create a bit of a dilemma for my community as far as 2025 when it comes time to spend $14 million. You decided to tear down, or you decided to disuse the Edgewood Middle School with a declining population. Now you decided to tear it down with a further or declining or even population. You want to spend $900,000 to do that. A replacement value is about $14 million. Edgewood has a need for a recreation center that meets roughly the specifications of the existing Edgewood Elementary School. Its replacement value is about $14 million. I do not speak for the government in any way, but as far as the community is concerned, I would not be surprised if we wouldn't prefer to spend that $14 million towards replacing that building that should not be replaced. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. McGill. Next, we have Kenneth Brennan.
Good evening and thank you, Kenneth Brennan, 94 Square Ridge Road, Edgewood, New Mexico, also the mayor of Edgewood. Just want to say real quick, welcome and congratulations to all of you in your new positions. And I, as the mayor of Edgewood, look forward to working with you all coming up the following year. And that's basically all I needed to say.
Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
That's it.
Yes, sir.
To the superintendent for comments and commendations. Madam President, members of the board, tonight we have Mr. Joe Anaya, the Moriarty Edgewood School District Athletic Director, and he would like to recognize two of our coaches who have hung up their cleats, I think cleats in both sports, right? Hung up their uniforms and their whistles for a bit, and we want to just thank them for all the work in many, many years. Mr. Jordan Alcorn with our boys soccer program. Jordan, if you come up, and I'll let you talk about Mr. Alcorn.
Good evening, members of the board, Madam President, Superintendent Bibiano. This is Coach Alcorn. Coach Alcorn has coached soccer for us for 14 seasons. He has over 101 wins. He's stepping down to take on big responsibility for that, to be a dad with his kids and get them ready for future soccer endeavors at Moriarty High School. But tonight, we just want to say thank you to Coach Alcorn. Coach. Excellence in all that he does here at Moriarty High School, and what he'll continue to do for our district. He'll continue to coach track for now, and we are still trying to convince him to coach soccer.
Do I have to give this back if
Yeah.
Mr. Alcorn, would you like to say anything, or?
Yeah, just more of a personal decision. I'm really happy with the schools and school district and the direction we're going, so there's no discontent or anything. And just owe it to my family to focus on them for a while, and who knows, maybe the position will be open down the road again and come back. But
Still is.
very grateful for obviously those of you that were on the board that passed and approved our awesome new facility. It was great that I got one season in it before stepping down, but it was a huge upgrade. It created a lot of excitement for the boys. We had 35 boys out playing soccer this year, and I anticipate that will continue. Hopefully find a good replacement for me, but anyways, thank you for your guys' support of our schools and athletics in general.
Thank you. And President Hudson, members of the board, if I may, so I coached Jordan. I was 12 when I started coaching him. And Jordan was a soccer player, his dad was a football coach. We needed kickers, I was a special teams guy, so it took some work around it, but it turned out to be a great opportunity for all of us. So I appreciate, Jordan, everything you've done when I was coaching you, what you've done for our students. Jordan is also, those of you that may not know, a teacher at our high school. Done a great job with our history program, and he turned out to be a heck of a little football player there also. So yeah, we always use those soccer players as defensive backs because they're good at that stuff. So thank you, Jordan, for everything. You've done a fine job with the program, and thank you.
Thank you.
Our next coach tonight stepping down is Coach Denny Young. Over there. You do. He was the head baseball coach for the past 9 seasons. He's our head softball coach for 3 seasons, and he's also an assistant wrestling coach, combined with over 106 wins as our head coach in both sports. Again, we tried to convince him not to go, but he decided to take the decision of a board member, so Coach Young is stepping down from baseball. His position, unfortunately, is closed, and unfortunately for Coach Young, he never got to coach on the new fields, but we do appreciate all he's done for us, and we're going to miss him a lot. I'm going to miss him a lot. I'm going to enjoy working with him.
facilities are awesome, by the way. I mean, we did get to play there this summer. We got to get in like one official game and, you know, hey, I'm 1-0 on that field. I started in this district coaching in '97. I was about 14. No, I don't know, 20 something. In charge of C-team wrestling at the high school under Coach Latham, Coach Gonzalez, and Coach Lujan, who left me in charge of kids that were 5 years younger than me. I mean, there are laws now. I was driving to school suburban, I was doing all these things, and they never checked anything. So, but firm believer, God puts you where He needs you, and you know, it was a hard decision to make, and one I didn't want to make, but ultimately, you're where you're needed, and this is where I'm needed. So, thank you guys.
Thank you, Mr. Nayak. All right, MHS Student Council representatives. I'll let Mr. Young finish up there, his hardware.
You try not to cry.
I am. It's tough.
All right. All right, we move on to MHS Student Council representatives. Principal Adams.
I invited her, and I didn't get to her till today, and she had other obligations this evening, so.
Okay, so it's okay for me to assume that what they were gonna talk about, primarily Sweetheart Week and stuff, is in your board report, so
Absolutely.
you can help update us. Okay, all right.
And if you have any other questions?
All right, moving on to principals and athletic directors' reports. Discussion, comments, questions?
I always have comments.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, thank you. I just, in reading all of your reports, there was just so much in there that was so encouraging, but I did pick one thing from everybody's report, though. South Mountain with their food drive, feeding 54 families in 4 hours, that's an amazing accomplishment, and many kudos to South Mountain for that. And then in EMS, Edgewood Middle, 94 perfect attendance in January. I thought that was admirable. He's been working very hard on his attendance, and I was happy to hear that he found out an issue that had been making his attendance look lower than it actually was. So keep at it. I know we're going to improve our attendance as we go forward. And then for Moriarty Middle, congratulations to James Salerno from being the spelling bee champion for the Torrance County. And when does the state thing meet?
I'm not entirely sure. I know the next phase is remote.
Okay. Oh, that's right.
And so he'll sit with Miss Heather Page and compete, and then in order to advance to the next stage.
Okay. And then for Ms. Kelton at the ECC, I loved your Chocolate Kisses campaign that you started with the central office and gave them all chocolates, and then encouraged them to go home and share it with their families and their community, based on the spark came from Blow Me a Kiss, a book by Karen Cullum. I thought that was very interesting and very good. And then for Route 66, your students attending the anti-bullying assembly by the Bernalillo County Sheriff's Office. That's so important for our kids to learn how to care for each other and encourage each other and not be harmful to each other. And for MES, I enjoyed the responsive classroom report, and congratulations on the positive report that you got back from your consultant. That was awesome. And I see that when I go into Moriarty Elementary. I can see your community in your school, and all the schools are working on it and doing beautiful work there. And last but not least was Mr. Anaya, and athletics are alive and well in Moriarty, and 5 women going to the state wrestling championship. That is just amazing. And then it's last but not least, Mr. Adams. The video on the Western welding thing that you put out was so good. I mean, I saw the news interview, and that was good, but that video that you all put together was awesome. And it looks like they're going to come back again next year.
We're hoping
They want
so.
to. They say they want to. So That's awesome. So thank you all for your wonderful hard work that you do for our kids in our schools. That's all I have to say.
Real quickly, if I may, before others, Madam President, members of the board, Mr. Nye, could you update us? Total amount of wrestlers, the boys and the girls,
Boys
because we
and
had
girls.
regional at Moriarty High School this weekend.
Superintendent Bibiano, members of the board. So we do have 13 total going. We have 8 boys also included in that group. From the girls, it's Mia Size, Christina Means, Miranda Quintana, Lily Shoemake Means, and Lydia Gabaldon. Those are our top 5 girls. For the boys, Bruno Lequera, Caleb Gustafson, John Valdez, Kaden Camplain, Isaac Dominguez, Nathan Madrid, Antonio Cano, and Mishan Jaramillo. So they'll all be joined.
And Mr. Nye, state starts when?
State starts Friday morning at 10 o'clock at the Rio Rancho Event Center. And then Saturday morning will also start at 10 o'clock.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? Questions, comments for the principals? From Mr. Naya? Mr. Lawson, yeah?
I just wanted to say thank you for the reports, and then thank you for having me. Is that, would save it for the next one, or the next one, board education? Because went out and visited the schools, got to spend some time with them, went out to the blue collar tour, did the regional tournaments. Coach Nye was very kind to me. Went to a couple of different school events, so just, I appreciated it and loved being there, but like I said, is that more for the next one, or?
No, we're good, yeah.
That's good.
No, the biggest thing I had was, it was welcoming. It was very much being able to get out there. Kids were great, faculty was great. I mean, all the way down to maintenance, they were on everything. They were such a valued member of the team, and just going to each school and just walking into the classrooms and seeing, it didn't bother the teachers, that it didn't bother. They just kept going. They just kept, like we weren't in there, but it was just accepted that we could be in there and it wasn't disturbing. It was eye-opening. It was great. Like I said, going to the wrestling tournament this weekend was so much fun. Watching the kids get hyped about it, be involved. The Blue Collar Tour, having so many other schools come into it, so many other districts coming from miles and miles away, just coming in, just being excited about it was. Just want to say thank you and just much appreciate it. Hope you guys get used to seeing me because I want to come and be a part of this a lot. So, and especially to the superintendent because he facilitated a lot of it. So, really appreciate it.
We're in it together, right?
Yes.
All right.
Trying to grow and get better.
If there are not any other questions about the principal or athletic director's board report, we will follow Mr. Lossing's lead and go into board president and board of education. Any comments, questions?
Anybody? Anything additional? No? I just wanted to say it was enlightening and wonderful to go up to Santa Fe when we attended the Board Institute up there, and we arrived on Thursday, which was the FFA day, and it was wonderful to see all the state FFA students in their beautiful colors, and then they recognized the FFA students and designated a day to be FFA Day. I guess it would be February 1st was the day that they gave them. But so the new board went up there and got to participate in those activities and then sit in on many group meetings that tell us different things about legal and statute and policy and all those different things, which sometimes can seem boring, but it is very informational, and I have enjoyed going there. And then we also had time to get to know each other a little better and fellowship one with another and eat together and laugh together.
Mm-hmm.
So it was a good experience, so thank you for sending us up there. And that's it.
Any comments? Questions? Good? Anything else, Mr. Lossing?
No, I'm good now.
Okay. All
You
right.
got it all out?
All right.
No, but
Not
I'll be
really,
all right.
but, okay.
All right, we will move on to superintendent's report. Madam President, members of the board, had a presentation from Capital AE on options that were developed by the F&P steering committee over a course of 4 meetings. The processes and the procedures were laid out by Josh and Molly, so now we're down to our action item, which is approval of the facility master plan and the options that were listed. And so I have a recommendation to approve the 2024-2029 facility master plan with all options that were presented.
Can we make a few discussion comments before? we
Yes.
do? I understand everybody thinks that we just vote on it, but it is a yes or no on a fluid object. It is, we're open, it's not just, we're not just gonna be a living document where, yes, we say these are the things that we've talked about, but it's, we're gonna make the priority, we're gonna sit down and make those best priorities. So this is just a blueprint for what we're going to, and I just wanna make sure that that's what's understood, that, yeah, they sat and made multiple meetings about this and spent a lot of time on it. And we're just saying, this is what we're gonna use as our stepping stone to get to what we want to get to, and get to the money in the right places like we're supposed to. So,
Thank you.
So are you telling us that you wanna kind of table it to where we get more information on some of this stuff?
I'm saying,
I do.
I have one question, I don't expect anybody to have the answer. So you guys, there was a facility master plan every 5 years. What percentage of that plan is executed in that 5-year window?
That's a good question.
I mean,
We've
are we
got-
talking like we do 15, 50, 80% of it? Or, what percent? I'm guessing that's as budget allows, right? Constraints. So I'm just wondering, historically, what percentage of the facility master plan is executed?
And I appreciate that question. Not the current facility master plan, but the previous one. I'd have to go back and look. This current one, there's a hiccup with the whole COVID situation and just
Right.
shutting everything down. So those percentages may be skewed a little bit, but there's a vast majority of the items that were in the facility master plan, because with Capital AE, they get the old facility master plan, and then we compare it with them on what we're doing if we need to bump anything over. But that can be, I can get that percentage of items.
We maybe got the last one with the one before, I'm sure there's.
Or go back historically.
I'm with Albert, I think tabling it to get a little more information. I'm a little concerned with 8E, demolishing the Edward Elementary School building.
Yeah.
Due to mediation with the town, right?
That's fair? That's fair, yeah. Yeah, so, I guess President Hudson, what I'm hearing is then there's a recommendation so there is going to need to be an amendment to my recommendation. The amendment is to table action on the 24-29 facility master plan for approval. To have it tabled until the March meeting.
Yes.
So you'll need a motion
Okay.
for the amendment to my
For the
recommendation.
amendment to your
table
recommendation. So we now look at making a motion to the amendment that Superintendent Bibiano made to table this until the March meeting. So do I have a motion?
So move. So we
Do I
table it to
have a second?
March. Yes.
I second.
Any other further discussion on that? If not,
Let's roll call it.
all, roll call it? Okay,
Yeah.
all right. We'll have a roll call vote.
Mr. Lossing?
no.
Honor?
Yeah, you vote, you're voting.
Yes,
By
sorry.
by
To
name.
table it.
That's
Do
fine.
I need to say my name?
No.
Dr. Chavez, yes.
Yes.
Okay. I'll vote yes as well, I think. I'll go ahead and vote it out. So if it passes, so we will table this
Action item until the
action
March
item
meeting.
until our March meeting. Okay.
Thank you.
What's the timeline for getting this into the state? I guess I should ask this before, but what's the timeline for us getting this into the state?
We will definitely have it before the end of the school year.
Okay, good.
Mhm.
Oh, I think we need to move on to the next. Maybe we can have it.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. A few more items. Under my report, public education legislative update. All right, let's see if I can read my own notes here.
Let's see
All
what
right,
that goes.
so,
Mhm.
the state legislature, they had their 30-day session. It ended on February 16th at noon. I have down here, what I think is fairly accurate information. Again, this is a 30-day session. A lot of the bills that are presented in the Senate or the House center around some sort of financial, right? Budgets, fiscal, right? Because it's a 30-day session. 658 bills were introduced through both houses, and 72 of them made it out of both houses, all the committees, for the governor to review. She has until March 6th to sign any that she has not already signed. And so there were 72 bills that made it out. Some of them have already been signed. There is a stipulation. The Sunday before the legislature is to end, if it is on the governor's desk, then she has 3 days to sign it. If it makes it on that Monday or afterwards, then she has until March 6th to line item veto, to pocket veto, or to sign it, whatever, however the process goes through there, okay? In regards to education, for your information, and I shared this a little bit with the principals this morning, as we got the latest. House Bill 2, which is the general appropriation bill, which is the state budget, it's 278 pages or something like that. The public ed piece that I have listed. One piece of the legislation that, and the budget that just kind of gave us heartburn, and when we heard about it on Thursday, when things were getting finalized, out of school time, the extended learning time, the money that we use for our after school, before school, and sometimes on Saturdays, clubs, to help pay salaries for our staff members, as well as transportation or materials. The state PED is getting, it was funded for 80 million this year, and next year it's only going to be 15 million.
That's,
So a $65 million decrease in out-of-school time. That gave us heartburn, of course, because, Mr. Romero, how many students do we have participating?
Mr. Fabiano, over 1,300, so over half of our student body participates in an after-school club.
So that's extra money above and beyond our operational budget. That was heartbreaking. I mean, this has been good for families, it's been good for kids, it's been good for building relationships. Some staff members have students whom they might not have in a class, but they have them in their club. And so we've already started brainstorming. I try to do the apples to apples, orange to orange comparison. We may get more than this number that I'm going to throw out. Don't hold me to it, anyone. But if you're doing percentages of the 80 million versus what we got this year, which was 2.6 million, if we're doing percentages and they stay in percentages, we don't know how the state will figure it out. We'll get like 400, 500,000. Yeah. But that doesn't mean we stop an opportunity. There may be opportunities for, use that money in a different way. We're just gonna have to be creative, and that's what we do as educators, right? Yeah.
I wonder why they don't think of all this, that they're bragging about all this money they're making with marijuana and all that. I wonder what they're doing with that money. Our roads are worse now than they've ever been. We're not getting nothing for the kids in school, so I wonder what they're doing with it.
It's listed somewhere in there, sir.
Go ahead.
All right. The second thing out of House Bill 2 that we are pleased about, and we're very, excited, is that there will be universal free meals continuing. So free breakfast and lunch for all of our students That's great. Also in House Bill 2, it's a 3% salary increase for school employees across the board. Not the average, but 3% across the board. I think that's it out of House Bill 2. House Bill 137, which is school board training, and I was sending you guys updates as much as I could, but so that's on the governor's desk for signature. It talks about enhanced training, in particular for brand new school board members to increase the required training hours from 5 to 10. And it's broken up very specific. So the School Boards Association, as well as CAP and myself, help track your training. And when I say specific, a minimum of 2 hours on school finance, a minimum of 2 hours on ethics, a minimum of 2 hours, on governance. And so it's in that bill. Again, these haven't been signed, so they're not official. But if it is signed, then July 1, 2024 is when House Bill 137 goes into effect. House Bill 137 also has a system for the school accountability that has been put out there. So it's telling the PE and the state to enhance and develop systems to hold schools more accountable. And then it is also all lumped together, even though it just says school board training. It's the webcasting and archiving of school board meetings. Ms. Romero, Ms. O'Neill, Chris, we had our technology committee meeting 3 weeks ago or something like that, about 3 weeks ago, and we had this on the topic to get ready, to look for quality cameras, make sure we have good microphones, and we have a system in place. I think that would work for us, but it's connecting all the dots, and what platform we'd have to decide. What's interesting about that is we webcast, but there's no funding for us to buy the equipment or what we need, but we, like everything else, we'll get it figured out to make sure that we're in compliance and that our community is able to participate and watch these meetings. All right, and then I don't want to take up too much more time, but it's important to know that House Bill 171, the graduation requirements passed. That was one of the bills that was presented to the governor on the weekend, and she signed it. She had those 3 days, she signed it immediately. So our incoming freshmen next year are going to have some different opportunities when it comes to math credits. We're going to have to develop some guidelines and start looking at the registration piece. Algebra 2 is taken off as a requirement. New Mexico history is taken off as a standalone class. It's going to be incorporated into the other U.S. history, right? U.S. history. And another big piece of the graduation requirement, House Bill 171, is schools will be required to develop a profile of the graduate. So we did that work last semester. Ahead of the game, as a matter of fact, the federal government was also putting out their recommendations moving forward for the next 3 years that profiles of graduates are created and systems are put into place to support those students and the graduation requirements. Lastly, a memorial was passed. A memorial does not need the governor's signature. And so what happens is the legislators got together, they have a memorial, and they want the LESC to study middle schools. What should middle schools look like? What needs to be provided? A lot of so the term middle school really is a, what's the word I want to use for it? A concept of how the students from 10 to 11 years old, 12 years old, what instruction should look like. I know maybe some people in the audience or some members here, you went to a middle school, you had family concepts, you stayed together, whereas a junior high looks more like a regular high school, right? And so many of our middle schools, they're named middle schools, but they run like a junior high. And so there's a study to look at what middle schools should provide, what requirements and accountability. And then a big one, and the last one I'll mention here, the joint resolution for a state school board. It did not make it out of the House Education Committee. It got stuck there and never got a chance to get through. So for this legislative session, that resolution died, more than likely it'll be reintroduced in the 60-day session. Okay? Phew, that was a lot.
You made it.
I made it. That was just some of it. Yeah. Any questions or other comments on the legislative piece? All right. Real quickly, I'll go to the Superintendent's Advisory Committee, which will consist of community members, staff members, and really that's going to be our budget committee moving into budget season. We'll meet next. We meet on the 27th,
Monday, the 26th.
the 26th.
The 26th.
Yeah, we'll meet on the 26th.
Okay.
Okay. The first meeting will just be an overview. A couple of board members have been invited also to join us. Mr. Young, Mr. Chavez, and Ms. Donner. If you guys would like to as well join, let me know so we can get everything posted properly. Okay? It'll be just an overview. We don't have our unit value. We don't have a lot of information until the budget is signed, and then even after the, well, we should get it. No. We go to budget conference in March, and that's when they usually give us our unit value. When that unit value, it's interesting, because pretty much everyone from around the state's there, all the districts, all the directors of finance, all their CFOs, whatever titles they have, just chomping at the bit to get that unit value, and they wait until the last day, the last session, to make sure you attend all the work breakout sessions, and then they give it to you, and it's a mad scramble. People just, because I mean, they literally start working on their budgets on the drive home, some of them, because they're driving to the four corners of New Mexico. So we will keep you updated on that. Torrance County Clerk, some of you may know Miss Linda Jaramillo. We will support Torrance County once again. I just wanted to bring it to your attention. There are the presidential election on June 4th, and we will have this room and this building available for the presidential elections as well again. If I may, Madam President, Ms. Jaramillo wanted me to read this to the board. Real quick note, the Moriarty Edgewood School District has always been very courteous in allowing us the use of the buildings for voting purposes. She was not able to make the meeting tonight. She has another meeting that she had to attend. They expect a very high turnout for voters for the upcoming primary and general elections. She says that she has enough precinct workers to keep the voters moving in and out in a well-managed flow. And thank you very much for allowing the use of the buildings. Okay. And lastly, I brought this up in previous meetings for the new board members. We talked about it. You know, it's been a hot topic at the legislature. There was a rule that was going to be proposed about, it's called the 180-day rule, that would really affect 4-day-a-week schools and some other aspects. That still has not been presented as a rule. There was public comment and public hearing held. You can also submit online, as we did, some concerns. 180 days, moving to a 180-day calendar doesn't affect us in the Moriarty Edgewood School District right now, because we're at 184 anyways. The 5-day-a-week school week does not affect us, 4-day, because we're a 5-day, right? But there are portions in there that has me and some others on my team, and we've talked about it, concerning like the limitations on remote days, stipulations about remote days. And so if the rule is presented, I was told on Thursday in a meeting, we were told in a meeting, superintendents, by Secretary Arsenio Romero, that they were going to make a decision on the rule here in the next few days, which means probably another 2 weeks, right, as they go through things. Our concern is being able to allow us the flexibility to make our own decisions, like the facility master plan, the 1,140 hours, how to fit that fits our communities, fits our decision-making, our strategic goals, and without being mandated that you have to do something. So there are a few of those areas within the 180-day rule that we would like to have at least some more opportunities to discuss with the state. I will also let you know that if the 180-day rule is presented as a rule, which can come down from the PED, which is the executive branch, down from the governor's branch, the state school board, the state superintendent's association will be filing to put a halt to that, a temporary halt to that. And so we would be joining in on that if that happens. And with that, we would be helping them fund $500 for attorney and legal fees. Again, it's more of the process that's happening that didn't happen that we would be trying to stop so we can have more conversations and studies around the 180-day rule. Okay? All right, so that's a lot. Any questions?
So standing up for local control?
Standing up, yeah, that's what, yeah. Again, the 180-day and 4 days zone, it's about being able to stand up for us to make decisions with all the other school districts and charter schools. And the charter schools that want to be able to, develop a calendar that would best suit our communities. For board members that may not know or community members, there are school districts out there that are only 172 days. Some are at 186, more than us, right? So it varies. There's no standard in the state. The only standard that's been set up is the 1,140 hours and how you want to and where you're going to make up those hours. Yeah, of instructional time. Thank you, Vice President. All right, we good? President? All right, move to Director of Learning Services Board Report. Any questions, comments? Mr. Romero, do you have anything to add?
No, I do not.
Anyone?
So I want to say that I did ask for some teaching from, like we did with the finance that I missed, unfortunately, but I asked to do that with Mr. Romero. So want to invite anybody that can, because I didn't understand like some of the numbers that like proficiency levels and things like that, and some of the trends that they were looking at on improving math scores and different things like that. So I asked for some time with her. So, and somebody'd like to join that, really,
Yeah,
it's open.
that's perfect. And again, it's a standing invitation for board members. If we need to sit down with our staff, we can make that happen, especially to the learning curve. It's got to be fast, right?
Yes,
it is. Move, right? Move quickly. Move quickly. All right, anyone else? Thank you. Member Lawson? No questions or comments? Then we will move to business. Madam President, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. I recommend approval by the board for consent agenda finance items 1 through 4.
So we have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to approve the consent agenda of items 1 through 4.
Is there a motion?
Mr. Chavez.
Chavez was, okay, and then a second?
Second.
Okay, Jeff, second. Sorry, I have a bad left ear. I didn't hear him. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Motion passed.
All right. So items B through E. Any questions? Or for Mrs. Young or Mrs. Young, do you have anything to add to any of that? The awkward silence,
No,
right?
we're
It's
good.
wait time. No? We're good?
We're good.
Okay, thank you. All right, moving on to personnel. Director of Personnel Board Report, Dr. Michael Buckley. Any questions, or Dr. Buckley, do you have anything to add?
I do not.
So is the Western New Mexico student teacher a Moriarty Edgewood kid?
That I don't know.
Not originally, but go ahead.
Yeah, no, just, she had asked to work, to do the time in our district, and so
We try to collaborate with anyone who wants to work with us, and if it benefits us, hopefully in the back end, that we get her as a teacher, then I'm all for it.
Vice President Young, currently she is an educational assistant for us.
Okay.
And, educational assistants, some of them are in the Grow Your Own programs, which were established a couple of years ago. And so, yeah, Dr. Buckley goes back and forth with whatever university, and there was a time, unfortunately, where one of the universities did not allow it, and the EA had to take, their own personal time during the day to go do it. But we have a really good relationship with Western New Mexico now, and they support us, and especially if we have, one of our educational assistants wants to go through this, become a teacher, and like Dr. Buckley said, benefit down the road.
Thank you.
Anything else for Dr. Buckley?
No.
Thank you.
All right. Support services, special projects, and other items. Any questions? If you don't mind, Madam President, I'm just gonna say A, B, C, or D.
Yeah, there you go.
I already asked my question again for the maintenance report.
Yeah. So, just member Lossing was asking about, the work orders, closing them out, making sure, yeah. So we'll double check on that. Because, again, I'm thinking it's a typo, but it should say 2024 on it, I'm assuming, but I'll double check that. Our work orders have to be closed in a timely manner, meaning the work has to be done, not only by our expectations, but by PSFA. PSFA, they do reports, they do updates, they check on us, and if you have outstanding and work orders, they can deem you down the road when they do their yearly reports. Yeah.
And Dr. Buckley, so all buses are operating, right?
Yes.
And,
And
okay, so all the
plates,
rest,
yeah,
we
everything.
have plenty of drivers still, right?
Well, that's still fluctuating.
It's
We still have
fluctuating.
people getting sick now, and so we have a pool with 2 subs and then reserves, and then they're going into it, and then other individuals get sick. So we're not having as many cancellations as we had in the beginning, but with the health issues that are going wrong,
Yeah.
we're still having some.
So my piggyback to that is, do you have enough aides on those buses now, or?
I think they.
Yes.
Yes, they do.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's it for me.
Very good, okay. All right, item E, special projects. So we have 2 items listed as action items for outdoor classrooms. And some board members have seen, we had approved an outdoor classroom originally for the early childhood center, and it does look a lot better than the gravel and the weeds that were going on, but we kind of had a hope that things would move, and so it's going to be full turf, and so I appreciate your support on that. Tonight, we have 2 more outdoor classrooms. You did receive the quote for the Moriarty Middle School outdoor classroom in your packet that was given to you on Friday. I will apologize, the Moriarty High School outdoor classroom, we had asked for a change order, and they didn't get that until 4:30 this afternoon to me. But it's still on there, and so what I'd like to do is we would take special projects number 1, the Moriarty Middle School outdoor classroom, and Madam President, I recommend approval by the board for the funding of the Moriarty Middle School outdoor classroom.
We have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to approve the Moriarty Middle School outdoor classroom. Do I have a motion to approve? And a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion further on that? All those in favor?
Aye.
All those opposed? Motion passed.
All right, thank you for that. We have the fencing done at Moriarty Middle School to, help with security, and now we can do the outdoor classroom. We'll jump on this tomorrow, get the PO up and see how quick, see if this crew can just start going through prep work over there. All right. So again, you have the hard copy, I highlighted it, it should say Moriarty High School. The original quote had come in at over $200,000 for the area that we wanted to create for the outdoor classroom. That wasn't what we wanted money-wise, so we asked for some changes, in particular, the scope of work to install turf, which was originally 75 by 120. We asked them to give us a quote on 90 by 70, so basically the same size as the two middle schools. And so this is the quote that, what is it, 12099. I'll let you look it over, take a little bit of time before I give my recommendation.
Last page has a good breakdown of how it decreased.
And so I would say, thank you, sir. On page 3 is the change order with the decrease in the amount. It comes out to 171, 176.07. It's a little more expensive than the other outdoor classrooms because of the furniture, or we call it furniture, right? Or patio sets.
Patio.
Yeah, or the benches and the tables that'll be going on. We good? All right, Madam President, members of the board, I recommend approval of the Moriarty High School outdoor classroom quote 12099.
All right. We have a recommendation from Superintendent Viviano to approve the Moriarty High School outdoor classroom. Do I have a motion to approve?
I so moved.
Do I have a second? I'll second. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion passed.
All right, thank you. So I joked a little bit about getting this crew to move over. Our hope was that we would get both of these approved and we could get one going. And then since they're already here and they're staged, we could just have it on their timeline just to move over to the next school and start it right away. Start it right away.
Have it in by next August.
And so our funding with this, with the ESSER, is that we do need to get it in as soon as possible, right? Yeah, all right.
Awesome.
Thank you. We don't, moving on to board policy, we don't have any reads or anything on board policy. And come to advanced planning. All right, is there any requests or discussion items to consider for March 2024, other than the continuing on the discussion of the FMP? Anything further, anything else?
As we talked about on our visit, bringing up the family consumer science, see how that would get a teacher getting those facilities up to pace to work on that.
Okay, we'll get you information and we'll continue that discussion. See where we're at.
Okay.
That's what we.
Yeah, it is.
It's no man, yeah, all right.
For us old people.
Part of that, Member Lossing and members of the board, that would also be part of the process of the Superintendent's Advisory Committee as recommendations to try to fit into the budget moving down.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
If there, go ahead.
On item 1, have there been any recommendations?
No, we haven't, so I wanted to bring it up. Yeah. Yeah, so each year, the New Mexico School Board Association sponsors an award for a Student Achievement Award. It's really geared towards staff members that the board would want to recommend to receive this award. Last year, we gave out 2 of them. One of them that the School Board Association provided, thank you, and the one that the Moriarty Edgewood School Board provided, the plaque and whatnot. And so if you have any staff members that you would like to recommend for this, just let me know, and we can move forward, all right? And then we can, the deadline would be March 8th, okay?
Is there any limitations to it? Principals down to?
No.
Anybody?
And I'll make sure you, I resend this to the requirements
Okay.
and what you need. Yep. Okay. All right. Yeah, last year, Patty England received it, and Mr. Stout, Jeff Stout, our automotive teacher, received it. All right. Item number 2, there was action and approval made for the Moriarty Edgewood School Board to move into mediation and have conversation about the old Edgewood Elementary School building. That's scheduled for March 19th. I'm still waiting on some of the specifics to get you guys where it will be and whatnot. I will apologize ahead of saying I do have some emails that will probably has that information. I just didn't have it right now. I got this afternoon. That will be a special board meeting we'd have to call. Then we go into mediation with the town of Edgewood. And then we have a regular board meeting that evening. Okay? So it's gonna be a full day. It'll be a full busy day. And then, mentioned it real briefly, the spring budget workshop. That's just more for information. It's the school staff and districts that go, the school board members. You could go. I'm not sure, Mr. Chavez, do you know if anybody's ever gone to the spring budget workshop as a school board member?
We have had some of this.
Yeah, okay, all right. If you're interested, let me know. Again, if I get more than 2 of you, then we would just post this accordingly, okay? It's at the Sandia Resort. That's where it'll be, okay? It's very much like the conferences you guys have been to. It's, we go into breakout sessions. Some of it has to do with legal things. Some of it's going to be legislative update. We pick and choose breakout sessions. They'll have some general sessions, very similar to what you guys had at the Institute in Santa Fe. And then, like I said, we're sitting there in a big room, and sometimes they announce our unit values, or sometimes it's at the end when you get that's your door prize when you get to leave, I guess. You know, but let me know. All right. Anything else for items for consideration for March? No? No? All right, then, Madam President, I recommend that tonight's regular meeting be adjourned.
Okay. We have a recommendation from Superintendent Bibiano to close this meeting out for this evening. Do I have a motion to approve?
So moved.
A second?
A second.
All those in favor, aye.
Aye.
Opposed? This meeting is adjourned.
All right, thank you, everyone. Appreciate you.
Thank you.